everyone, welcome to the Fortress of Solitude podcast. I'm your host, Sergio Pereira, and today I am joined for the spooktacular episode by Lois Qutob. But first, before Lois gives us his introduction, it's spooktacular because you're going to be frightened by our castings for the new X-Men movie.
Oh Lord, what have you picked?
I've picked only the best. Only the best. I mean, we know definitely Justin Bieber as, the new Wolverine. It needs to happen. So definitely that. I'm thinking Miley Cyrus as Jean Grey.
All right, this podcast has peaked. Thank you, guys. We will see you at the next one.
But Lois, how are you doing, man? What's happening?
I'm doing well, man. It's just one of those days of the week. Things are going all right. In South Africa here, we've got lockdown level 1, which changes not much for me, but mentally, it's a good time.
And it was great. Like yesterday, all the social media networks were down. It was like heaven.
Yeah, that's true as well. It was just like a nice little break that we had to have. Maybe the Zuck did it on purpose. He's like, guys, just take a break.
No, I think it was more the feds knocking at the door. But anyways,
it's like everybody switch off.
But yeah, we're not going to get too deep into that because we are here to talk about mutants. Now, obviously, the big news that came out the last couple of years is the Fox merger with Disney. Well, actually, Disney owning Fox now, and that means there's going to be a whole bunch of new X-Men movies. So everything that's happened before, it's part of history, and they're not going to be continuing the same X-Men universe that they did with, James McAvoy and Michael Fassbender, like the Dark Phoenix. Oh, look, it is a possibility. I mean, they obviously are doing this whole multiverse thing, so it wouldn't surprise me if you see some actors come back. But I mean, recently I read an interview with James McAvoy, and he's like, I'm done as Professor X. Like, I've done everything I wanted to do, and I'm cool. I'm happy with my time as the character. I need to move on.
That's a fair point because I can't remember the actor's name who played Quicksilver.
Evan Peters.
Right, and Evan Peters made an appearance, so really it is possible, I guess.
Yeah, I mean, look, it's likely, it could happen. I think with a multiverse, they might do it with a couple characters that maybe are not so well known, that might not necessarily be part of the universe going forward. So they might just make a cameo like here or there. Yeah. So you could get I don't know, some B-grade character that they're not going to say into the universe around them. They might make an appearance connected that way, or maybe on one of the shows or something. But I strongly believe that they'll want to create especially the X-Men universe from scratch, because the X-Men is a huge IP. It's a huge franchise, and I strongly believe it could be one of the big ones going forward for Marvel. They will definitely want to do something with it, and they will want to shape it with the actors that they want and the stories that they want, so that they'll try to leave behind everything that happened in the Fox universe. Because look, the X-Men movies, especially the first couple ones, the X-Men from 2000, X2, and even The Last Stand, they were quite important back in those days because they actually reinvigorated a lot of superhero movies and the whole genre as a whole.
Big time, yeah.
And yeah, I mean, they've had mixed fortunes, along the way. There's been some really good ones, some really average ones, but I think they were very important. So it's going to be interesting to see what they do going forward, because especially there's a whole elephant in the room. Who's going to be the next Wolverine? I mean,
yeah, dude.
How
do you follow up, man? That's insane. Exactly.
And I mean, I think that Hugh Jackman has said he's not interested. I still think, they could throw a lot of money at him and he could change his mind. I think that a lot of green coming into your bank account might make you look at it differently.
Got to come back for one more old man Logan.
Yeah, well, he was already, but I mean, he'd probably do it again.
Yeah, for a second one.
But yeah, what we're going to do today is we've decided on a couple X-Men characters, the basically the pillars of the X-Men franchise. We're not going to get too deep into it and start looking at, other characters that might appear like Cable and Beast. And we just decided to do some of the main characters, the ones that we know will definitely be in a first movie of the X-Men, or basically whatever happens, they're going to be the pillars and the foundation of the X-Men going forward.
Right.
So I want to start off with Professor Xavier.
Okay.
Because that's obviously the lead of the X-Men, and he's a big character, obviously. I mean, the X-Men, the Xavier Men. And it's a big role. Now, I really loved what Patrick Stewart did. For me, he's still my favorite. Like, he's still my favorite.
He's the OG. When you think Professor X, you think his face.
Exactly. And I think he's like really good because he was a little bit of an older Professor X, kind of the way you remember him in the comics and, you know, especially in the animated series as well. A little bit older, but, you know, like felt like, you know, like a real leader. That's the one. I love James McAvoy. Don't get me wrong.
Wise but tough.
Yeah, James McAvoy was great, but I found he was like obviously in the much younger Professor X. It was like a different time. But I want to hear your pick. Who would you cast as Professor X right now?
Right. So for this podcast, I've got a couple selections, you know, per character, but for some I only have one, and this is it. You know, I thought long and hard about it. I've only got one selection, and for me, sort of a middle age, so it's between the McAvoy and Pat Stewart. I'm going with Ewan McGregor.
Ewan McGregor, that's an interesting casting. I'm not going to lie, I've never thought of that, but I can see that happening. I can see that happening.
He's so brilliant. Can you not see the intensity, yet also the calmness? You know, just think about his performances as maybe like Obi-Wan and all the stuff he's done. He's such a versatile actor. Yeah. And I feel like he's got something like Professor X like under his belt. No problem.
I can see that. I could definitely see a casting. For me, I've done it a little bit differently.
Okay.
Well, from my side, what I've done is I've actually gone with an older Professor X. Probably, okay. I'm sure he's probably about the same age as Patrick Stewart. But the thing is, there is a problem here. He has been cast in a Marvel movie before.
Oh, interesting.
Marvel, you know, they've shown that they're not afraid of having, you know, some characters playing the same person again or playing different people. So I'm going to go with Ben Kingsley.
Oh.
And the reason why is because I actually imagined Ben Kingsley as Professor X before Patrick Stewart got the role. He was my pick. Like back in those days, like I was like, no, Ben Kingsley. And I've always heard rumors that everyone said, you know, Ben Kingsley could be, you know, the person. You know, like that's the person that, you know, that a lot of people see as Professor X.
Yeah,
but I dig it.
It like in what like film or you know in what role do you think he like kind of best shows that kind of side of him? I mean, I know he's a versatile actor, hilarious as well.
Oh man, it's like in tons of movies actually shown. Like, I mean, I remember like even seeing stuff like Gandhi, for example, where he portrayed Gandhi. He was just so good.
He did. What an insane role to take on, actually.
Exactly, and he's just got this calmness to him, and he's got like, as we saw in Shang-Chi, he was able to do the playfulness. He's just such a versatile actor.
He's extremely versatile. I think you're right there. Ben Kingsley's a power one, and it all depends again on what the age, you know, what is the story they're telling? How old is Professor X at this point? Because we have no idea how young or old they're going to introduce these characters, and this is why I think some of our picks, I don't know about you, it's a mix. I've got some young people and some much older actors in the same role.
Yeah. Well, I mean, look, that's the fun thing, and I mean, we can speculate, and I mean, obviously they can play around, you know, with the speculation of who's going to be involved and all of that. So we can always have some fun here, and you know, just spitball a few names here, but yeah, look, I love your casting as well, Ewan McGregor. I must say that's a really good one.
Now, we're off to a good start.
Yes. Next one, the leader of the X-Men after Professor X, of course. I mean, so what is he? Is he like a manager? Like I'd probably call him like a middle manager.
Yeah, executive.
Yeah, the creative lead. So there, Cyclops. Now, this is an interesting one as well because I think James Marsden looked exactly how I imagine Cyclops.
Yeah, he was perfect. I was going to say the same thing.
Perfect. I must say, Ty Sheridan was also really good, you know, as a younger Cyclops. But I've decided to like really go in on this one, and it's something. If you followed Fortress of Solitude, you might have seen already. I wrote something about it before, and I've mentioned it before. Henry Cavill as Cyclops.
Henry Cavill.
Yep.
Wait, hold on. Let me get my head around that for a second. All right, Superman, The Witcher, You know what? Yes. What? Yeah, I can see it.
He's got the jaw. First of all, he's got the jaw.
I thought you were going to say Wolverine because that jaw is.
He does, but I think the problem is that, like, I could see Henry Cavill as Wolverine as well. The problem is that him jumping from, I think, Superman to Wolverine, I don't see that as a natural jump. To something like Cyclops, yes, there will be backlash. Yes, people will be crossed because like what happened to, Superman and all of that. But him jumping to Cyclops, I could see it being more accepted by the fan base than him jumping to Wolverine. Like I think Wolverine's too much of a big character.
The reason why I think there is because Cyclops is excuse the pun, he's a straight shooter, in his personality. And I think, and Superman's sort of that as well. And plus he's already got the abilities, the laser eyes, same thing.
Yeah,
just but downgrade a few abilities.
That's the thing. But like Henry's also got that sort of persona, like you look at him on The Witcher, like, a little bit, the way that he is, towards people, and like Cyclops sometimes he's a bit of a douche. Like, let's be honest, he is a bit of a douchey character, and it's just like very. And I could see that actually happening, like with Henry, just taking this role and running with it. So for me, like Henry Cavill, but now obviously your choice.
So I've got two here. Okay. So hear me out. And the one I've popped for multiple characters because just like we were discussing now, some fall over both. So my first one, I don't know if you've seen Vikings, but it's Alexander Ludwig.
Yes, he's in heels. That guy is great in heels.
And I thought. Like in heels or in
no, not in heels, but like I don't know if he's in heels. If he does, cool, power to him, man. But like in the Heels, the TV series, Heels, the wrestling show. Yeah,
I don't think I've seen it, but I should see it. Yeah, but he's brilliant. And I feel like Cyclops, like he's such a natural born leader. In many roles he plays, he comes up as that kind of person. And I think as a slightly younger Cyclops, he might be pretty badass.
I can see that.
He's also just like a massive like beast of a man.
Yeah, he's a big dude.
He's a really big dude. Yeah. So that was my one pick. My other one, and this one came because of the fact that I feel like the reason Cyclops hasn't been such a big character is because Wolverine steals the show. Yeah. It's like all the time. And I thought if Cyclops is going to really have a chance to shine as an independent character, what about, and hear me out, Miles Teller?
Oh, Miles Teller. Oh, man.
As a completely different, like he's got so much personality, he's quirky. Do you think that's something that could fit Cyclops? A different twist?
You see, like Miles Teller, like for me, I will just always remember Fantastic Four, him as Reed Richards. And whilst I don't necessarily think that it was all his fault, I just think he was completely miscast as that character. Like I wouldn't cast him for that as Reed Richards. Like he just did not strike me as a character. And to be honest, I see him sort of in the mold of like a Ty Sheridan, and I think he probably would be able to do it.
Yeah, because I think of what was it, Whiplash, and I think of his character there, and sort of the persistence and the attitude, and I'm just like, I don't know, I think it works. Plus, he's got the comedy about him. He's kind of a versatile actor as well. But yeah, Reed Richards wasn't a good pick.
I can see it. Like, the more I'm thinking about it now, like, as you said, because I actually Ty Sheridan, I used to think he looked a lot like Miles Teller as well for some reason.
Yeah.
And I could actually see that. Like, I could see him taking on that role probably as a young Cyclops. I probably wouldn't have him as my first pick. I would probably take Alexander, like if I had to choose between the two. But I can see that. Like I can see Miles Teller. He is a really good actor, and I think sometimes that's the difficult part. We struggle to associate like, do they have the look of the character as well and the acting skills? And I think acting skills, yes. Look, I'm still a little bit uncertain. I'm still on the fence.
Okay,
but I can see that. I could see it working.
All right, cool. I'm enjoying this. This is good.
This is quite fun. We've got some different ones there. Okay. Yeah. Now the next character we're going to get to is Storm.
Love Storm.
Now Storm, I think the way they've handled it in the movies, like I thought Halle Berry was like really good in the first couple movies, and I thought like the new actress as well that played Storm. Actually, like I'm blanking on her name right now. Let me just check exactly what her name is because
I feel like they didn't give her that much time to shine though.
No. She didn't get like enough of an opportunity to shine at all, and that was like the thing about it. I just thought like, what? Like, how can you not allow? Oh, Alexandra Shipp, that's it. Because I remember seeing her in something recently. So I'm like, oh, it's the Storm actress, Alexandra Shipp. She was really, really good as Storm, and I really liked her as a younger Storm. And I was curious to see what they did with her role, but obviously it never happened. Now, for me, I'm looking at I've got Henry Cavill as Cyclops, so I've taken an actress that I remember seeing her first in The Walking Dead. Okay. And then she moved on to Star Trek Discovery. She's the lead in Star Trek Discovery, Sonequa Martin Green. And I think she's such an underrated actress. Like everything I've seen her in, like I think Star Trek Discovery, she's finally been given like an opportunity to shine. But I remember The Walking Dead. I mean, like, okay, look, granted, everyone dies in The Walking Dead. It's like, but like I thought with her character arc was starting to get very interesting, and they killed her off like quite quickly on the show. But I think she would bring something really cool as Storm, and she's got such a range as well. And I think Storm needs that. Storm is not just like a simple character. You're right.
I mean, she's tough. Like whoever plays Storm, they've got to be tough, and she's obviously like shown that she can act tough roles. Obviously still being emotive, still being someone you can connect with, but someone who's not going to take any nonsense.
Yeah, and I think that especially also because Storm is supposed to be second in command of the X-Men as well. At some point, I remember there was a whole split in the comics, and Storm like controlled like one half of the X-Men, and Cyclops didn't want to split it into, I think it was a gold and the blue team. And so she's shown she's got natural leadership, and I think especially if you look at, the actress's role in Star Trek Discovery, where she's been a natural leader and she's carried it really well, and she's got like a presence, and she's able to convey that you need to respect her.
Yeah,
and I think it's like very important, especially someone like Storm. So for me, that's my pick.
I think that's a brilliant choice, to be honest. I didn't even think about it, but that's
she was the first name that came to mind. First actress that came to mind. I was like, I need to get Sonequa Martin Green.
I wouldn't bat an eyelid if they said this is the new Storm. I said, yes, please, thank you.
I actually wanted her to be Starfire in Titans as well. Like when I found out in the cast of Titans, I remember like thinking of something in a fan cast, and she was my pick to be Starfire. So yeah, and okay, now your pick.
All right, so the problem with both my picks is, okay, the one is kind of in a big upcoming DC film. The other one is already in Marvel and it already has a role, so it can't happen. It's just a wishful thinking.
Okay.
So the first one is Zoe Kravitz, who's going to be playing Catwoman, I believe.
Yes, yeah.
Yeah. I think the woman is just power. Like, yeah, she's got this air about her. Like, she doesn't have to say a word, and her presence is just like a lot. And I feel like that's Storm. I
can see that. Yeah.
So yeah, for me, Zoe Kravitz, I think she's got a cool, calm demeanor, but she's also like super tough. So I think that would be my pick. If this person, Lupita Nyong'o, didn't already have a role as Nakia, part of the Dora Milaje for Black Panther. If Lupita Nyong'o didn't have that role, I would have said she would have kicked ass in this as well.
No, I can definitely see that. Like those two actresses are really good picks. I think especially with Zoe Kravitz, and Zoe Kravitz was also in X-Men First Class, if I'm not mistaken. She was that. Was she? Yeah, she was also a mutant in X-Men First Class. I remember that. So she was really good in that as well. But I mean, obviously that's a Fox movie, so it's always possible that, But yeah, I mean, obviously being Catwoman, I'd imagine her role is going to be expanded there, and maybe they might not want to do the whole Marvel DC divide now.
Yeah,
but I agree with Lupita. She's badass. Like I can see that as Storm. That is a really good casting. And as you said, if it wasn't for the Black Panther connection, I could see that definitely working. So yeah,
she's already got a brilliant role, but yeah. Anyway.
Those are really like good picks. I mean, Storm. I mean, come on, Marvel. We're just giving you some options here. Now, the next character is like, because this character is definitely going to be cast in an X-Men movie, because we haven't really seen it in the previous ones except for Wolverine, X-Men Origins Wolverine, and that's Gambit. Because everyone's known like that Gambit, there was supposed to be a solo movie. Channing Tatum was like obsessed with playing, and it's not happening. Like,
which is sad. Do you know why? Like, I know it's been up and down for a long time.
It was all the turbulence at Fox, to be honest. It was, I think, because they were like starting projects, and then the whole Disney buyout happened, and it kind of got buried. I mean, there was also like, I remember talk of it was a Doctor Doom like origin movie. Yeah. And it was supposed to be like Mars Mikkelsen as like Doctor Doom.
Dude.
That would have been like the fantastic cast. Now, I can't see a better casting. The fantastic casting. Yeah. And I'm saying that intentionally. We know why. And but yeah, that would have been really great. And obviously the Gambit movie with Channing Tatum, I mean, he was like heavily involved. I mean, he wanted to play his character. But unfortunately for my pick, Channing, sorry, bud.
Yeah,
you're going to be on Free Guy. That's the only place you're going to be now. So yeah, for me, I've actually my pick is somebody who's just finished a DC movie and is unlikely to come back.
Okay,
Chris Pine.
Chris Pine.
Yep, as Gambit. And I'll tell you why. Gambit is like a super popular character amongst the X-Men fans, right? He's someone who X-Men fans love him, and he's never really gotten the respect that he deserves, I think, in the mainstream side of things.
Yeah.
Like, even the animated series, people loved him, the comic books, people love him, but you never mention Gambit's name alongside the likes of Wolverine or, you know, Spider-Man or whatever. Like, but among the fan base, like X-Men fans, Gambit is the one. But the thing is, I think to bring Gambit to life, especially like in the MCU, you need somebody with charisma, because the guy's charming.
Yeah.
You need somebody that's a really good actor. You need somebody that can make you feel the different sides, like the different facets of his character. I mean, he started off as like a thief, basically. He was a thief for like one of his guilds. And then, you know, he's like, but he's also like a compassionate character as well. He's just very, very layered. And I think someone like Chris Pine, who can convey a lot of emotion without saying anything, is very important for somebody like Gambit. So Chris Pine for me,
it's a super multifaceted character. So I think you're right. The actor does need to match up to all of those different planes.
And Gambit is one of those guys that also, he talks, he doesn't really tell you a lot sometimes. He talks like, like cracks a joke here and there, but a lot of what he doesn't say is important. Okay. I think he's one of those characters, like what he doesn't say is sometimes more important than what he does say. And I think Chris Pine is like the perfect person to bring that to life. I think he's shown before that he's able to play like these different characters. I mean, whether he's playing, Steve Trevor or he's playing Captain Kirk in Star Trek, he knows how to perform like whatever's necessary of him. He's got like, I think he's just very, very talented. I think he's super underrated, to be honest. He's my favorite Chris.
Okay, all right. Your favorite Chris, damn. All
my
right,
favorite Chris,
nice. Okay. So, with my pick, I think you're going to like the second one a lot. First one, hear me out, okay? Dylan O'Brien. Now, the reason I say Dylan O'Brien is because, I think Gambit does have that quirky side to him. He does have, sort of a young energy. He's a bit cheeky. And I feel like Dylan's got that. But maybe Dylan O'Brien's more of a very talkative kind of person.
Yeah, I see him as a Spider-Man, to be honest. He was one of my picks to be Spider-Man.
Same. Yeah. I was like seriously going for him, and I didn't actually know Tom very well before he got picked.
Yeah, same.
And only after I was like, okay, no, he's great, it's fine. So Dylan O'Brien was my first pick, but then I found a better one, and this one you're gonna love. Hear me out, right? We both like the series Kingdom.
Yeah.
Jonathan Tucker.
I can see that. Yeah. I can't
that dude has a natural swagger. He doesn't have to say a thing. His facial expressions are insane.
And he does deserve like a big role. I want to change mine now. Sorry, Chris.
Yeah. Jonathan Tucker is brilliant, dude. I think him as Gambit. Come on.
Okay, I'll take it back. Chris, sorry, man. Maybe you could revive Steve Trevor or something. Like put you in the Lazarus pit and
back to Star Trek.
Back to Star Trek, yeah. No, okay, all right. Jonathan Tucker. I can agree with that. Yeah, I'm sold. I'm sold on that.
Nice,
Marvel,
nice.
Again,
Please make it happen.
Send a check to Lois, please.
Yeah, I'll take my fee, 10%.
Yeah, 10%. What are you talking about? It's Hollywood, take 20. So yeah. Now the next one, another critical role. Jean Grey.
Yeesh.
Okay, because now I'm going to say this. I mean, I recently wrote an article for Fortress as well. You see, we're plugging all the other stuff that we do here because this is how we do it. We plug it. About who is the better Jean Grey. Was it Famke Janssen or Sophie Turner? And one of the things that I said is that both of them are fantastic. Like, I picked Famke at the end of the day because I think she just got a bit more legacy of the character. But I thought they were inspired castings, and it's going to be difficult for whoever steps into this role because of how good they actually were as Jean Grey. Both of them are fantastic actresses, and yeah, it's big shoes to fill. But for me, it's actually someone who I initially wanted to pick to be Batgirl. Barbara Gordon. Yeah. And obviously the role's been filled now. And I think, okay, well, this is an opportunity now. Is Jane Levy. Like, she was from Don't Breathe, and also but she's also done a couple TV series, and I've seen her in quite a lot of stuff. I mean, even that like Monster Trucks movie, it was like, like, I don't know. I love it, man. That's cinema for me.
Jane Levy, I have not seen a lot of her stuff.
But she is like, she plays that role of, she's got a vulnerability to her, but at the same time, she's an ass kicker. And that's the same thing as like Jean Grey. There's a bit of vulnerability in her, but she's like, at the same time, it's like, she's scared, but she's scared of what she can do. Not a case of like, she's scared, just scared of herself. She's scared of what she can do to everyone else. So it's that fear of like, not just the fear of like, oh, I'm scared of the world. It's like, I'm scared of what I can do to the world. And I think Jane has got that personality to convey that, like from what I've seen. She's also got like very subtle nuances, and I thought she was great as well in Don't Breathe. Like that was one of my favorite performances of her that she's been in. So yeah, for me, Jane is my pick.
All right, so we've got Jane on the one hand. On my side, and I think I 100% agree with you, needs to be this kind of strength with vulnerability.
Yeah.
And for me, again, I'm going back to Vikings for my draw of talent, and I've picked the actress who plays Agatha, Catherine Winnick.
Oh yes, everyone was casting her as Black Canary, like ages ago. Yeah, Black Canary, because before the Birds of Prey movie, before that, like as Black Canary, because she looks a lot like Diana Drake, basically.
Okay, yeah.
So she looks a lot like the character, like from the comics, and I can see it. But I could also see her. I mean, like, dye her hair and you're good to go.
As a Jean Grey, obviously, dyed hair. But I think she's a power actress, man. Like, seriously.
No, she's good.
She's got what it takes. I mean, my second choice there was Rose Leslie, who's already got the hair, and she played Ygritte in Game of Thrones. But for some reason, I don't know what it is, but for some reason I kind of backed out of that choice.
I get what you mean. I haven't seen enough of Rose Leslie to form. Like, I've seen her in Game of Thrones. That's pretty much the only place
I know she's brilliant. I have seen her in something else, and she pulls off American accents pretty well and all that. But I don't know, because it's quite a intense character, and I know, like, her character, for example, Ygritte, was very feisty, but it's not the same kind of like towering or scary kind of power that Jean Grey has. So I kind of backed out of that one.
No, it's interesting. Look, I think it's going to be difficult to cast Jean Grey. I think that's going to be one of the hardest roles, to be honest with you, because of the previous actresses that have played the role, like how good they've been, it's going to be difficult. Because even if you didn't like the latest X-Men movies, you can't fault Sophie Turner. I think she was fantastic. She was like the perfect person.
She did step up, and honestly, like I wasn't sure going into it, but she stepped up.
So so Jean Grey is going to be a tough one. Now, obviously, we're going to leave Wolverine for last, so you can still stay tuned in, because this is how you do things. I mean, you don't give it away. It's like everything right up front. Like, we're not playing Wolverine now. Peace out. We're done. So the next character we're going to do is the villain. We're just going to quickly jump across to the Brotherhood of Mutants. And obviously it's Magneto. Magneto is the big one. The Magneto is, the biggest villain in the X-Men universe, and he's likely to feature in the first movie. If not being the central villain, he's going to be introduced at some point. And I think this is the one that is also going to be a bit difficult to cast, because obviously you've had the likes of Ian McKellen, you've had Michael Fassbender,
both
phenomenal actors. Exactly. So for this pick, I actually, there's been a name that's been going around for a while, and I have to agree with this.
Okay.
Giancarlo Esposito from Breaking Bad, the guy who's Moff Gideon in the Mandalorian. He is one of the best actors I have seen in my life. One of the
most intimidating actors.
He can say nothing, and you will. Dude, you need to change your underpants, dude. That's what the guy can do. He is so good. And for Magneto, Magneto as a character doesn't need to say much. But you just want to see. I'll never forget one of the scenes from X-Men. I think it was X-Men Apocalypse, where Magneto was hiding out, and eventually they found out who he really was, and they murdered his family. And he walks into that that factory scene, and he just quietly, and you just see the silent rage in his eyes, and he murders everyone in cold blood, dude. It was just so intense.
You could see him pulling that off. I mean, after the things that he's done, and he makes you feel calm. He can make you feel calm and looked after, and he can also make you feel like you're done.
Exactly. And I think, if you especially look at him as Gus Frings in Breaking Bad, there's a whole story behind Gus as well that, he kind of, he was a bad guy at the end of the day, but there was also some good in him. He was kind of a little bit like, your Pablo Escobar sort of character.
Yeah, a little bit of a tragic.
Yeah, he's doing a lot of, he's doing a lot of shady things, but at the same time, he's doing more for his people than what the government did, which is he's building fields, he's building schools, building hospitals, and you're like, okay, so it's a complex character. It's not just black or white, you're good or bad. So,
and that's Magneto at the end of the day. He's got an ideology. He's not here to just mess things up.
Exactly, and that's the thing. His ideology is whether it's right or wrong. There's elements of it that's got truth in it, and elements of it that it's he's a little bit of a fundamentalist. But at the same point, it's like, you know what? It's a complex character with a lot of different shades of gray in them. And I think that Giancarlo, for me, he's perfect for that role. I just see him as like, come on, just take this role now. That's
a strong pick. I don't know if I can compete with my picks.
Okay.
I think I would agree with that as number one. I've got a few here. Tell me what you think. You can just say yay or nay. First one is Jason Isaacs.
I can see that. Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
You know, not just the look, but I feel like he's got the attitude. I feel like he's played villains before. And he always just kind of fits the role really well.
So basically, we just need to like cut the Malfoy's hair, and then he'd be sorted.
Yeah, he's sorted, 100%.
Yeah, exactly, yeah.
So Jason Isaacs is the one. Jeremy Irons is the other, and he played Alfred Pennyworth in the recent
yes,
Batman.
I can see why. Yeah, I can see why.
I think it was more for the look, personally, than anything else. And then the last one, if you watched Game of Thrones, is Charles Dance.
Oh yeah, Charles Dance could definitely. I mean, Charles Dance is a fantastic actor. Look, I think those are three great picks. I'm not gonna lie, those are like three really solid picks. So I could see either of them. Like, I would be like, oh, you know what? If any of our picks, if any of these four actors were cast as Magneto,
I would still pick yours though. Like, preferably. Just, I think it would be cool.
Yeah, look, Giancarlo is one name that I think he deserves it. He's just, like I said, even in The Mandalorian, again, like his character is just, he's just so menacing. Like whatever he does, you just like, he's just subtle the way that he does things, and it just it connects with you. So yeah, for me, those are really, really good picks. But now we get into the big one. No, you got to do the X-Men theme song. Now, obviously, it's Wolverine. Now, regardless of how you see Wolverine, I know some people are a bit sick of the character. They're like, no, it's just, it's all about Wolverine. It's what about the rest of X-Men? He is the big one.
Yeah, he's the one. Stop talking. He's the one.
Yeah, exactly. He's the one. It's like, when you talk about Neo in the Matrix, no, he's not the one. It's Wolverine.
Yeah.
So obviously, ideally, everyone would want Hugh Jackman to come back. That is, I think, at the top of the wish list.
Yeah.
But, big but, I do not think he's coming back anymore. Like, I've changed my opinion. Initially, I did at a certain point. I was like, oh no, Wolverine will come back. But lately, I've seen some things that he said, and he just seems to be playing it very cagey, like almost like wanting to let us down a little bit easy. So I think maybe he doesn't really want to come back. But if he does, great.
Yeah. I mean, fair enough. The dude has done the role, every which way of it.
Now, my initial pick when he announced that he wasn't going to play Wolverine anymore was Tom Hardy.
Tom Hardy, yeah, dude, great.
Tom Hardy as Venom, it's not going to happen. He's not going to jump from Venom to Wolverine. It's just not going to happen. He's too popular as Venom right now. He's
already established.
Exactly. And I mean, Venom 3 is likely to happen now after what it did this weekend, making ridiculous money.
Hell yeah, I can't wait to watch it.
I'm psyched for that. And so I don't think it's going to happen. Now, obviously, the other picks out there people have been speaking about, and they're like, one of them is Daniel Radcliffe. Mm-hmm. I mean, no. I thought about it
as a young Wolverine, no?
Yeah, but I don't know. So I've spent some time with this because initially at some point I thought Scott Eastwood. Like,
same.
Scott Eastwood is cool. Scott Eastwood, but I'm like, no. I'll tell you who I want as Wolverine.
All right, tell me.
Charlie Hunnam.
Charlie Hunnam.
Yes, and I'll tell you why.
Okay.
You need somebody that's Wolverine is like the archetype for a bad boy.
Yeah.
You need someone that's like going to be sitting there with his shirt off like half the movie.
and looking good.
Yeah, looking good. And have a cigarette and or have a cigar and on one side of the mouth, have a beer in the other. Charlie Hunnam basically did this in Sons of Anarchy.
Yeah.
I mean,
he's got a beard as well. He's got the whole look down.
Exactly. Okay, sure. I mean, he's blonde, they dye his hair. So what? That can happen. But I actually see Charlie Hunnam being able to pull off this Wolverine role and a bit of a gruff, a bit of short, sort of thing. And also the thing is, he's I mean, he's not a short guy. I don't think, I think he's still 1.80 m, but I know like with Hugh Jackman, he was rather tall. So a lot of the actors, the way they had to film stuff, and Wolverine's supposed to be supposedly short. Now, I don't think they're going to go find an actor who's like 5'6" or 5'8", like or Wolverine's supposed to be. But he looks like a normal sized, man.
Yeah.
And he'll be able to perform, the role and like not look like gigantic next to anyone. So for me, I think he's got the look. I think he's got the attitude. I think he's got the skills. And he's due like a comic book role.
Yeah, for sure. No, I think it's a solid pick. That is a really solid pick. Great actor as well. For me, this is where I had the crossover. Firstly, with Alexander Ludwig. I don't know if he can pull off sort of the deepness of the sort of those grunts, and they're just kind of like, he can be heavy, but he's also like, he just can't escape that he's young, man. Like he's really young. But at the same time, the other thing you mentioned was the size of Wolverine. He's not known as like the tallest or most, and this dude towers, hey? Like
he's
huge,
huge,
not a small kid. So that's why I was like, yeah, maybe not. So Scott Eastwood, we had Daniel Radcliffe. I thought, but you know what? That would be such a challenge. I don't know if you could pull it off. I've never seen him in this kind of role.
Yeah.
But then I did think about Stephen Amell.
Okay.
Who was in Green Arrow.
Okay, yeah, all right.
And I know he's kind of got this gruff side to him as well. But at the same time, I don't know. I think I watched too much Green Arrow and he seemed a bit too like soft in his eyes all the time, like a bit too emotional. I don't know if you can pull it off. So Stephen Amell was my one pick, but ultimately I think for a young, kind of still getting there Wolverine, I'm gonna go with, and he might be too good looking for this role, but Liam Hemsworth.
Okay, but how about I'm gonna go back to one of your picks.
Okay,
but let's go to Vikings. What about Travis Fimmel?
Travis Fimmel,
What about Travis Fimmel?
Yeah, but
another actor that I was going to suggest, but the problem is I think he's been in too many comic book related things at the moment, and it might cause a little bit of confusion. Carl Urban as Wolverine.
Oh yeah, you're right. He's been in a lot.
And I mean, because obviously Dredd, The Boys, and now suddenly play Wolverine. Because I think he's really good.
Oh, but I think he's great. He's got the look, doesn't he?
He's got the look, and I think he'd be fantastic as he's rude as the butcher. So it's as butcher.
He's amazing. Actually really good. Yeah. I'm actually now I'm looking at him again, and it just if someone's like, that's Wolverine, I'm like, yeah, I know, I can see that.
It fits. But yeah, so look,
that's brilliant. Okay, listen, I'm sorry to everyone who's listening to the podcast if my picks were disappointing. I got really, really intimidated by Wolverine, and I was like, I don't know.
Well, look, we've had a good time, coming up with some picks here. I think this is a solid Marvel movie here.
Yeah.
I think the call's coming in for us to be executive producers very soon.
100%.
So, we just got to come up with a cool name, this is the Russos, and we've got to think of something for us, the Nerd Boys or something like that.
Or we get the comment section to pick it for us. Which
I don't know. They could go very south.
We're inviting problems.
Yeah, you're inviting problems. Let's think of the worst name we can call these two guys after we were upset with them about their picks. So yeah, that sounds good. But yeah, Lois, it's been great chatting to you again. It's been fun.
Thanks, man.
I'd love to do this again. Actually, it would be cool, to do something like Fantastic Four next, and some of the upcoming movies that we know stuff is happening when they haven't cast it. So maybe we should try it again. I think this.
That'll be cool. I'm down.
Yeah, and to everyone else out there listening, thanks again for tuning in. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe, and drop us a comment and let us know if there's anything else you'd like us to chat about in the future. And until next time, peace.
Bye.